Okay. So let's start on guidance and requirements for medical device listing and marketing authorization. So for Saudi submissions, we have a checklist based on which, we have to do the submissions, and this is one of the most complex submissions. So we have, for medical devices, we have several documents that we need to draft and we have to submit for Saudi submissions along with the DOC. Medical device marketing authorization, MDMA, it's called as medical device listing and marketing authorization. So MDS G5. So this is the guidance on the requirements for medical device listing and marketing authorization. So here, let's start with this. So this, I have just picked up the guideline itself, so that we could discuss on this. So in order to place the medical device in the market, it has a lot of requirements like, let's see, medical device, they have to have technical documentation, either for medical device or IVD, and then ISO 13485 certificate, and it has to be submitted to SFDA. Then post submission, it takes 10 days, and the renewal shall be made before 60 days of validity. Then the required documents are labels, IFU, EIFU, then conformance to quality management system that can be ISO 13485 MDSAP. Then there is a DOC which is required. So based on EODOC, if you're drafting, so you have to give that reference from if it has been approved in other countries, we take CE certificate and 510K clearance. We also take the establishment registration listing of the legal manufacturer, and also for any subcontractors. Then we have from Canada, we have if any DOC is there for Canada, if the sale of the market is in Canada, then we have to provide the license from Canada. Australia, so if you're selling it in Australia, you can provide the DOC and the TGA conformity assessment certificate. So depending upon if you have a sale in different countries, you have to provide the DOC and the license of those countries where your product is getting sold. So we will try to understand, what are the requirements. Like we have a EP checklist. So this EP checklist for Saudi. Yeah, Rishi.
So my question is this Saudi requirements, because this is for medical devices, similar to the EU MDR?
Yeah, you're not audible.
As per the technical file. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you tell me.
Yeah, so my question is, are the Saudi requirements similar or same as the EU MDR?
No, not really. It's not similar to EU MDR because it is all as per this guideline that we have to provide. So Saudi has got its own EP checklist, so which is similar to GSPR checklist of EU, but there are certain requirements which is slightly different. So there are 3 to 4 clauses which are different from GSPR checklist. So it is not exactly as EU MDR, but more or less most of the documentation is required as per what we do for EU MDR. So they have a systematic, requirements which is based, on on this guideline. So when we go through the guideline, we have detailed requirements for Saudi submission. It's not very simple. So it takes time to develop for Saudi submission. Okay, I hope that answers your query, Rishi. Okay. So next, so this is as good as GSPR checklist, but there is slight difference, like, the voltage requirement for Saudi. Are we complying with the voltage and the current requirements for Saudi? And there are slight one or two different clauses, but it is quite similar to GSPR checklist. So Saudi EP checklist is similar to GSPR, but we have to fill the Saudi EP checklist while submission. So put in clause by clause their information. So this entire is Saudi EP checklist. So after this, we are going to have further requirements. Like before, we mentioned about the DOC and license of different countries where the product is sold. Then we have a 510K clearance. Then you FQA, the EAC certificate. Then you can provide the design certificate as per Europe. And registration listing. Then as far as QMS is concerned, ISO 13485, MDSAP. So apart from that, there is a particular Saudi EP checklist. See, you can see it's similar to GSPR. I will not say it is equal, but it is similar to GSPR, which you have to fill and give it a Saudi submission. So now for medical device, technical documentation is as per Annexure 3. So here we have to, file a declaration kind of declaration letter wherein we have to, draft a document for device description, specification, which includes variants and accessories. So this particular document we have drafted, the guidelines has mentioned in detail what is the requirement for device description and specification. So here you have the trade name or the product name and variants that you're using. Then what is the product code, the GMD and code that we put from EU DOC, then model number or catalog number, then entire device description, how device looks with the pictures, the physical description, what are the components or accessories or parts or spare parts. Then what are the materials which comes in direct or indirect contact with the human body? What is the principle of operation? So more or less what we draft for EU, it's more or less the similar. Then any performance claims, any configuration sizes or picture of the device, that is to be put. So this will be in one document, like, you make a declaration statement kind of thing. Like in Europe, we make technical documentation, we make STED, which will have all these parameters. But here you have to make separate, declaration statements wherein you mention in detail. So here you have one. Then next you have intended purpose of the device. So intended purpose of the device, what it should have. It should have key indications, medical condition, patient population, contraindications. So that is one part, intended purpose of the device. So next clause is intended user of the device. So who are the users? Any user restriction? The next clause is rationale of the qualification of the device. So medical device qualification, that is classification of the device, how you're going to classify your device as. So that will be defined, as per the guidelines of Saudi Arabia medical device classification. which is classified as A, B, C, D. So in Europe, we have class 1, 2A, 2B, 3. So they are mapped to class A, B, C, D in Saudi Arabia. So rationale of the qualification, we have to, we have to stress on what class it is and what is the reason of that class. So we have to give the reasoning and the rationale of that particular class. So that comes through a different document, which is medical device classification. So this, you'll have rule number, you'll have the reasoning and the description. So that you have to take it from the classification guideline. So, but if you see the mapping, it is same as EU, and most of the times, even the rule also comes out to be same. So the rationale is also almost similar. So, but we need to check through the medical device classification guideline of Saudi, to understand the rationale. So we make a separate declaration for rationale of the qualification of the device. Can you please be on mute? If you have any query, you can ask me because the recording is going on. Okay. Then we have to mention the novel features. If any new or novel feature is there, then description of accessories, then description of any devices or accessories that is used along with, there will be a separate declaration for description of accessories. Then the configurations at the device history. So device history will constitute of any previous generations of the device. And the device market position. So device market position, you will mention about if any similar devices are present in the market. So you can name the manufacturer and the similar device that is present in the market. Then does the device require any specific declaration to be made? If it has animal tissue, medicine, human blood derivative, so that, so you have to make a declaration statement that, the device constitutes of these components. So these, like here, you do not have like, just one state document the way we have in Europe. So here in Saudi Arabia, we have to make separate declaration for each of these clauses. The next is information to be provided by the manufacturer. So here, this again is similar to EU. So here, you have to provide labels, So labels information you have to provide, and any bench testing or any preclinical testing has been done. So those data you have to provide. You have to provide the risk management files. So risk management plan, risk management report, any preliminary hazard analysis has been done. So you have to mention all that. And IFU, we got to provide the IFU and yeah, all the labels. Okay. So that here they have mentioned about lot number, serial number. So all these will come in within those IFU, for which we follow, ISO 15223-1. So all that has to be considered in the label. So they have mentioned the details, address, the manufacturer address, and what all we want in the label. So all those symbols as per ISO 15223-1, which is very standard, which is followed in all the countries. So we are going to have this. So if it is an applied part, it's an electronic device and applied part. So B, BF, CF that we have, as also in Europe. So we have to mention that. So any phthalates is present, so any contraindications, we need to mention that. So other symbols, some these, anyways. Okay, so label shall bear all these following components. So if the substance is carcinogenic, mutagenic, or toxic to reproduction, then endocrine disrupting substances. So label should have lot number, serial number, or any equivalent symbol. Sterile, reusable. Is it for single use? It has to be re-sterilized. So all those indications should be there on the label. So they have mentioned, what method of sterilization, name and address of the manufacturer. So as per ISO 15223-1, what are the requirements on the labels? They have mentioned in this guideline also. So in detail, they have mentioned. So basically, they have extracted the information from 15223-1 and they have put in this. Somebody has used annotation and where is the eraser gone? Okay. Next is design and manufacturing information. So we have to provide any BOM is there or any technical drawings are there. So, the packaging information, any applied parts. So what are the, if it is in contact with the human body, then what are the contact materials, MSDs, or, breakup of the components which is coming in contact with the body as per ISO 10993-1. So we will have technical specifications which will mention about device features, dimensions, performance attributes, voltages, output, temperature, speed, etc. Then we will also have a requirement documentation if there is any business requirement, any user requirement, product requirement, software requirement, hardware requirement, system requirements. So we will make a folder of requirement documentation. Design traceability or design history file or traceability metrics, which is drafted, that has to be provided. Then what are the design stages? So design stages, we have to give what procedure we are following. Do we have any design control procedure? Then the description of design stages, verification, validation document. So here basically we have to draft a declaration letter wherein we are mentioning about design input, then, design planning, design transfer and all, design output. So basically whatever SOP you have, as per your company. So we need to go as per that. Then we have manufacturing process. So manufacturing flow chart or manufacturing process flow that you have, which comes from master validation plan or from the manufacturing site. So we need to give that. Final inspection, acceptance criteria, manufacturing validation. Then we have manufacturing structure, which will constitute of the name and address of, where the design is carried out, name and address of where manufacturing is carried out, any critical suppliers or subcontractors details. Okay. Then we have EP checklist, okay, which we are going to give Saudi EP checklist. Then we have entire benefit risk analysis, risk management. So as per this clause, we will have all the risk analysis document as per ISO 14971, which we follow even in the, in EU. So then we have product verification and validation. So all the preclinical testing, biocompatibility testing, any physical, chemical characterization, microbiological characterization, then EMC testing, software verification, validation, any stability and shelf life reports, performance and safety test reports. Then we have a clause and clinical evaluation report. So we will have CEP and CRs. We are going to give, PMCF. We are going to give plan reports. Then the stability is, again, the shipping, any shipping and transportation document that you have. And stability basically, the shelf life reports, stability study reports. Then if you have any accelerated aging studies, you can attach that. Then shipping stability. Again, any transportation shipping stand as the reports that you have. Software validation. So again, as per 62304, ISO 62304, IC, sorry. So these are the different documents that needs to be there. Then you have PMS plan and PMS report. So we have to attach that. Then depending upon the class, you will have PSUR report. So PMS plan and PSUR report. So that was all for medical devices. I wanted to discuss on this. So have you done the submissions for Saudi? And if you have any query, and if you want to give some input, you know.
Yeah, thanks, Rimaji. Yeah, I've done a submission to Saudi recently for IVDs, and I can say that it's quite similar to the EU IVDR, and we
Okay.
have used the similar documentation that
Mm-hmm.
we have prepared for the STEDs, and we have submitted those and got approval as well from SFDA,
Okay.
which is really good news. So yeah, it's quite similar to what you've said there. The only difference being is that the DOC, because some of the SKUs that we're dealing with haven't fully transitioned over to IVDR yet, so they sit in a bit of a what's the correct term I can use here? If this was a Venn diagram, you'd have a circle on this side, which would be all the IVDR SKUs, a circle on this side, which would be another IVDR bunch of SKUs, and these SKUs that we have sit right in the middle, that they're neither IVDR, but they're only IVDD, and we have submitted those based on the essential requirements checklist as per
Okay.
IVDD, and yeah, we've got them approved, which was really good. Took a
Mhm.
while, but we've got it approved. Does anybody have any questions?
I think
Please
somebody's
feel free
trying
to
to
come off
say,
mute.
but we can't hear.
Ma'am, there is a query you mentioned, like there is one of the another document which defines the classification as ABC.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so which is that document, and what is, how we can get that on Google?
It is freely available on Google. So if you just try to, so this is the document. You just Google it out, SFDA classification. So you will get this document. Or classification in
SFDA.
Saudi
Okay.
Arabia. So it's freely
Okay.
available. Or you can go to SFDA website and you can, download the guidelines and even the classification document. So this is MDS G42. So this is a guidance on medical device classification for Saudi Arabia.
So one thing, ma'am, I'm part of the R&D also, as well as a handling portion of regulatory also, in terms of supporting them from document like PUSR, CER, or PMS report, or anything else. So my point is, whenever there is any novel device or novel technology being used, as a partial portion, not as a full portion of the or a technology change is there. So how we will set up the predicate, and whether there is a real requirement of going for clinical trial when we are showing some novel devices, and we are not able to establish any of the retrospective data from the clinical evaluation, or how it will be different when there is a novel device, and when a novel device or novel technology, and when it is not, in terms of clinical trial or evaluation?
So if it's a novel device, you'll have to carry out the clinical investigation. And if it's not a novel device, then you definitely have few predicate devices in the market. Then based on the literatures, clinical evaluation, you can validate it. And also you can use your preclinical testing data. So preclinical testing data, Article 6110, I think. I don't remember. It's been long. I have not worked on clinical evaluation. But when you are trying to, validate using preclinical testing data, it's Article 6110. So there are a lot of routes, by which you can prove the clinical evaluation or validate the clinical evidence. So by what route you're going, that you have to define. So if it's novel, you can go for clinical investigation.
Okay, thanks, ma'am.
Yeah.
Another question I was thinking, like once I was working for Japan submission, there we got stuck that we were stuck towards we need to perform the stability testing to a very minute level, 3 months, 6 months, and then 1 year, like that. Previously to that, we were just doing a stability testing for 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, and maximum till the shelf life. So is there any specific requirement till the deep down some specific period they are asking for, or it is a very generic 1 year, 2 year based on what the claim we are giving?
Yeah, for EU, we do real-time and accelerated aging studies. So whatever defined shelf life it is, you have to, provide that you have to claim that shelf life and, validate it using your accelerated aging studies. And real-time goes on. So based on the predicate device information also, it can be shown and it can be proved and claimed. So for Japan, what is the specific requirement? I can't say because I have not done complete Japan submission. We do it as per EU, we claim it as per EU. So I'm not sure of that. Rishi,
Yeah,
you've
ma'am.
done?
Actually,
Rishi Tazeen, have you worked on Japan submissions?
PMDA, I worked very early in my career. Even now, I'm not remembering the guidelines.
Okay.
Currently, what to say? I am working for Oman and SMTA, submitting my device related things to Middle East countries.